Let me just first share my screen. And perfect. I hope you can see my screen quite well. Yeah, it's all welcome from my side. It's always a pleasure to be here, and it's always a pleasure to present in front of a big audience. Thank you for your interest. I will just introduce a bit of what is AI, what is machine learning, to make sure that everyone is on the same page, but I will keep it short because I'm pretty sure some of you are already expert in the field. So yeah, let's jump in. Um, Yeah, so what is the overview? So I will start with the definition. What is AI? Then the interdisciplinary part of AI in general, also my motivation why I'm studying AI. Then I will talk about the AI, machine learning, and deep learning, right? There is a lot of talk around it, and it's sometimes very hard to get an overview. And then just a brief intro in the fields of AI, what fields we have, and what you will learn in your degree. Start with the definition. There are a lot of definitions, right? And there are a lot of books about it, just about the definition of AI. And I pick one of the simplest one, I think, and one is also the easiest one to explain. And that is AI refers to ability of a machine or machines to perform cognitive tasks commonly associated with human intelligence, including perception, learning, reasoning, planning, speech and language, and taking action. And one of our, I would say, in our one of the great scientists, Alan Turing, came up with the so-called the Turing test in 1950s. What the Turing test says is, imagine you are going into a room. The room has a wall in between, and there are two sides. On one side, you have this, in this case, C, which you will be, and the other side, it's A and B. A is a machine, and B is a human being, and you are interacting with them. You actually don't know whom you are interacting with. So you can ask, it can be a chat, you can talk to them, and you have interaction with them. So the only thing is that C doesn't actually know who you are interacting with. So the answer can come from A and B. And if C, in this case, you can't explain if it's actually coming from the answer from a machine or from a human, then we say that this machine, or in this case, A, has passed the human intelligence. Throughout the presentation, I will give you small homeworks because I like to, I want you to deep dive into these topics. The first one is very simple. Has the Turing test been passed? Check out, figure out. Yeah, if you want, you can also contact me then later if you found the answer. Coming to interdisciplinary, I think one of the most interesting thing I like about AI, and the thing is that you can actually apply it everywhere you want. You just need to find out where to apply it. And I think it's just one of the good thing about in general, and also my motivation why I choose to study AI, compared to computer science, because I think that AI can be applied in many fields, can be biology, chemistry, and so on. And AI itself has so-called the subdisciplinaries. It can be like there are people working on just neural networks. There are people working on planning and reasoning. There are people working on NLP, which is so-called the neural language processing, also known, very famous from ChatGPT and all these language models and so on. There are but also people working on robotics. Let's talk about AI, machine learning, and deep learning. And I think this is one of the best picture I could find online to explain all this. And a lot of people think that AI is just a recent innovation and just recently hyped technology. Actually, it has been already for quite a time here. It has started in 1950s with ELIZA, which is a kind of a grandma of ChatGPT you can think of. Not that smart as a ChatGPT, but still quite fascinating at that time. So you could still be able to talk to a machine with a chat and you got a response. And people were quite surprised at that time. In 1980s, we had this kind of the revolution of machine learning. We got some data, compute got a bit faster, but not that much. We got OCRs, is like imagine taking a picture, then extracting words and characters from it. Spam filters, we know it from our emails and so on. And I think the deep learning started in 2010. And this is like, I think there are many reasons why it started, but I think the two mains are like the fast computes we have nowadays and also the large data sets. These are the two components that actually I would say that drive the whole deep learning era. Here, one more homework, figure out why we have actually, so why we need GPUs for AI and what are like why are the key components of it. Let's get into brief fields of AI. So there are a lot. I will just shrink down and also focus on some which you actually be taught through the program. So one of the one is so let's start with supervised learning. And the definition is quite simple, I would say. So supervised learning, you train a model on labeled data, teaching them to predict the output from the input. So what you're doing is like you have a so-called, in this case, you can see the GIF or this video playing here. So you have the digits. It's a MNIST data sets. It's one of the famous data sets in machine learning where you have handwritten digits and you have the corresponding label to it. And what you want to do is like you want to train a neural network where you feed in the handwritten digits and you predict the corresponding label to it. And also one of the good things is like you actually, so throughout your studies, when you even start bachelor's, this is one of the first, I would say, interaction you will have with AI. It's like train a simple supervised techniques models. Starting with unsupervised. Unsupervised is also very, very common, and it's where you don't actually have even labeled data. Having labeled data is something very expensive and requires a lot of human labelers to label the data itself. And one of the big cases, like, or let's say an area where you apply a lot of unsupervised is like bioinformatics, right? When you have genes and so on, you don't have always the labels to it. And there you apply some unsupervised techniques. One of the most interesting one is also the reinforcement learning. Has also to do a bit with ChatGPT. This could be your, I would say, small third assignment. Figure out how ChatGPT has to do something with reinforcement learning. I think there are a lot of videos out there which will explain it more simpler, I would say even. But there you have an agent, and the agent is kind of interacting with the environment. The agent gets a kind of a feedback. It gets a penalty or a reward. A reward could be that it's doing something very well, and the penalty could be that it's doing something wrong. And the small video you're seeing here is one of actually in the courses, in the master courses, deep reinforcement learning, where you train this small car to drive autonomous. So yeah, this is like one of the cases you will do in your degree. The NLP one, I think doesn't need that much introduction anymore. I think it's with ChatGPT and all this language model, the hype is there. But that's actually the field it will fall under. So it's where you try to enable computer to understand and interpret human languages. Yeah. Also, if you want, there are a lot of blogs out there figure out how it's like how it works and what how the ChatGPT are working, how in general large language models are built. So I will just advise you to go over them. One of the fields also covered in the degree is the so-called the knowledge representation and reasoning. And the way you will can think about that one is, I think the picture quite explains somehow, is that it can have a, you can have a kind of, you have a sentence, and it can be also a theorem from mathematics, whatever. You try to encode it in a way that you can prove it, right? So as you can see in the image, we have a sentence, right? Then we kind of encode it into variables, and then we try to prove that. And this is one of also the big field in AI, also known as symbolic AI. I think that's all from my side. I think I will hold over now to Jenny.
All right. I hope you can all see my presentation and hear me. So
Yes, we
a
can.
warm welcome from my side as well. My name is Jenny Knaut. I'm the study coordinator for the Bachelor's and Master's program here at JKU at the Institute for Machine Learning under Professor Hochreiter, who also created this study program. And yes, so I would like to, maybe first share some general facts with you. So our program was the first AI study program in Austria and started in winter term 2019-2020. And I've been working at the Institute for Machine Learning since then. Yes, it's fully taught in English with the option of distant learning that we come to in a minute. And as pointed out here as well, and in red, it's a technical program. So even though we all use ChatGPT, it is a technical program based heavily on math and programming with a wider scope. So there are also lots of classes teaching the sociological and legal implications of AI, some gender studies as well, but still please be warned, it is a technical program. And yes, and there's no study fees for EU citizens for 8 semesters for the bachelor's and 6 for the master's. So you have the program is designed for 6 semesters, so 3 years for the bachelor's and 2 years for the master's, but you have an extra 2 for each, where you don't pay student fees apart from 20 euros for the Austrian Student Union. And for non-EU citizens, it's around 750 euros per semester. And also for the EU citizens who need a little longer to finish their studies, they pay then around 350 euros per semester. Yes, so now we go a little bit deeper into the bachelor's program. So as already said, it's designed to be studied in around 6 semesters, so 3 years. We know already now after 5 years that most students need a little longer, so 1 semester more. So if you study, you're a full-time student in the bachelor's, you need 7 semesters usually. So it's 6.7 to be exact to finish. And the admission criterion is your high school certificate, and only that, because usually you in the high school certificate, we can see that you've also taken English classes, and that's enough, at least for the EU citizen. For non-EU citizens, you do have to also show that you have an English certificate, which you can find on the JKU website specified. And in case of less than 12 years of high school education or school education, there's also the need of taking supplementary exams, which you can find out about and check out on the JKU website. This is why I left the QR code below for you. And yes, the program, as Abdul already explained a little bit, is fundamentally interdisciplinary. So we have we offer an education in computer science, in math and core AI subjects, especially after the first year, which is mostly programming in math. Then we start with the specialized training in core AI subjects, such as machine learning, data science, knowledge representation, reasoning, and as already explained by Abdul before, also NLP. And yes, so we are already the second largest bachelor study program at JKU after law, with more than 2,300 students right now. So it has exceeded all our expectations from the first year onwards, and it's still growing. And yes, we're really proud, of course, to offer this really popular study program. Yes, so as said, here you find the QR code for the supplementary exams. And this is the model study plan, just as an orientation. So again, I have to underline that it is just our recommendation, and it is meant for full-time students who do not work or only work up to 20 hours a week. So then we recommend around 30 ECTS per semester. And as you can see, in the first semester, in the winter term, we then propose that you start with the hands-on AI courses, the programming in Python and the mathematics for AI 1, as well as the logic course and technology and society, which is a course from sociology. And the current topics in AI is it's various talks from different departments of the AI curriculum. So the professors who just present their research, and this is like a really popular course as well. It's quite interesting to know what they are all researching at the moment. Yeah, and yes, really important also to know is that all our courses are only offered once per year, so or in winter or in summer. This is why we highly recommend you to start in winter. I know very often it's not your fault. It's also because of visa problems and because it takes really long, to get admitted and move here. But the start in summer term is really difficult because, as you can see here, in summer term, we offer the second part of the hands-on AI lectures of math and also of Python. So if you start in summer, it's quite difficult to take on 30 CTS, and also it's just difficult to get started. So I would definitely recommend you to apply straight away and just go with the flow, obviously, but yes, try to start in winter. Okay, and then here I wanted to explain a little bit more about the option of distant learning, because this is not a traditional distant learning program where you can just study from all over the world, like Fernuni Hagen, the German equivalent maybe, because it is a traditional study program which has the option of distant learning. So what means distant learning option? It means that, for example, the lectures, the VLs, in the curriculum, there's no mandatory attendance, and also the lectures are recorded and uploaded on the Moodle platform. So you can watch the lectures whenever you want, and in the end, there's an exam. So before the exam, really, you don't have to show up, on campus. For the exercises, there is also the option to, there you have to be present weekly or bi-weekly, but you can take them via Zoom, so you can study from home. And there's also usually at least one exercise taking place late in the afternoon. So for people who work as well, or part-time, they can take the exercise courses from, I think usually it's 5:15 to 6:45. Which is just really nice, especially in the masters. We know that 50% of our students work 20 to 40 hours a week, and of course this distant learning option makes it possible to study and at the same time work. But at the same time, because we get that question quite often, all the courses can be studied as a traditional university course, because of course our professors, they all teach every week their lecture in the lecture hall here in Linz. And also there's a lot of exercise groups always, which are also offered in person on campus. And in Vienna and Bregenz, the lectures are also streamed to the Center for Distant Learning, where you can watch them. And yes, so I would always recommend, especially for the bachelors, if you have never studied before, to come here on campus, meet the professors, meet your peers, get a feel of how university works, And then, especially in the masters, I do see the positive side of taking more courses maybe online and not in person. But so it is really designed, the program, to be studied close, from somewhere close to Bregenz, Linz, or Vienna. I know from some master students, for example, in Munich and Graz, they have managed, but they had also difficulties sometimes, because it's not only for the end of term exam that they have to show up. For example, especially in the bachelors now with math, you have to show up every week for a little quiz. And the teachers can decide that at the beginning of the semester. So they do not have to promise, to never require attendance during the year. They can change that from term to term. So this is why I definitely would recommend you to live close to one of the three sites in order to study this program. This is also just for information purposes. We also have a timetable prepared for every semester in the bachelor's and the master's. If you study according to our model study plan, then here you can see how your week would look like in the first semester bachelor's. The little violet corner, left-hand violet corner, you can, shows that you can also watch these streamed to Vienna and Bregenz, so you can watch them in Vienna and Bregenz as well. Well, of course, the exercises, there your attendance is required, and there is more than the exercises in the timetable. It just wouldn't look really chaotic, if I would put all 18 math exercise courses in the timetable. So this is just for your orientation. And maybe I just want to go back once to the model study plan in order to show you that from the third semester onward, really, you then start. So first 2 semesters, there's mostly programming and math proposed. And then third semester, you start with the machine learning supervised techniques. 4th semester is the unsupervised techniques, which is taught by Professor Hochreiter himself. And then the reinforcement learning in the 5th semester. So and the natural language processing as well. So everything that Abdul talked about, just so you see where it's located in the model study plan. So after you have covered the basis in math and programming, you then start with the maybe arguably more interesting courses. Yes, so yes, here is also the QR code to the program details page for the bachelor's, where you can find the timetable, but also a lot of question and answers from the Austrian Student Union, from myself. I would argue that most of your questions are answered on there. And yes, if not, of course, then we have today time, and also you can always write me in email with additional questions. Yes, so let's move to the master's. So the master's program is designed for full-time students to be studied in 4 semesters. Again, we know from statistics of the last 5 years that most students need a little longer, so around 5 semesters to study, to finish the program. And there was a little change, maybe with bigger implication in the future for the masters. So the admission to the masters is now only possible with a bachelor degree with relevance for AI. So this might be computer science, might be an engineering degree, but even something in natural sciences like math, physics is completely fine, obviously. And then you get just admission courses on top of your, like in your letter of acceptance. Then we specify what you have to study. For example, let's say your bachelor's is in math, then you would probably have to take Python 1 and 2. Additionally to the lecture in machine learning supervised techniques and machine learning unsupervised techniques that everybody who hasn't studied the bachelor's at JKU has to take as an admission course. And yes, so the master focuses on modern developments in the field of AI, in particular deep learning. And we have 4 elective tracks, also one new starting in October, which is called AI for simulation. And a second one in mechatronics, which is called embedded intelligence and signal processing. The third one is math-based, so symbolic AI and mathematical foundations. And our most popular one, so more than 50% of our students choose the AI and life sciences track. Drug design. And because our Institute for Machine Learning has been, I think, until 6 years or 7 years ago, the Institute for Bioinformatics. So some of our old bioinformatics courses have been also adopted in the AI and life sciences track. And yes, so now I wanted to show you also the model study plan for the different tracks. Again, we offer all the courses only once a year, so all winter or summer, which again makes me highly recommend to start in winter. And all the subject, the bold letters, which you can see. So machine learning and perception, AI in society, and the seminar and practical training. These are the same for all 4 tracks. And also you have never, when you get admitted and enroll in the program, you never have to write down anywhere which track you want to choose. It just depends on which courses you take in the end, because this is around like 15 ECTS, which differ from track to track between 15 and 18. And I have also had the case of students who couldn't decide, who were just too interested in different tracks and maybe couldn't decide between 2. And what I then recommend is, just because you have your area of specialization and free electives. The free electives alone are 12 ECTS and can be any courses offered at JKU, can be also German courses, for example, Spanish courses, Chinese, whatever you want to study, languages or any other courses. And the area of specialization are courses that we offer and are usually in computer science or AI. But if you're really interested in 2 tracks and can't decide between the 2 and which you take, then you could potentially take both, like all courses from 2 tracks, because you can just use the ECTS of the second track for your free electives and area of specialization. So we've had that case before. So this is possible. And as you can see in the machine learning and perception part, we study computer vision and 3 deep learning lectures with their exercises, as well as LSTM and transformers by Professor Hochreiter again. Yeah, just yeah, to give you an overview. And then in the AI and society part, you have what we talked about earlier. So the wider scope, AI and law, so some law course, and rope psychology is more psychology. Yeah, so it's I think it's quite diverse and interdisciplinary, as explained before. Yeah, the second track is the embedded intelligence and signal processing. Again, like I said, the first three subjects are the same, and then the elective tracks courses you can see are in this track only offered in the winter terms, first and third. And then we have the symbolic AI and mathematics foundations. There we have no fixed courses in the elective track because the mathematics department offer their courses every 3 semesters, so they vary a lot. And you just have to check out in course online which courses are on offer when you start. And here our most popular one, the AI Life Sciences track that also Abdul studied. Yes, which now changes again. So we had some curricular changes so starting October 1st, 2025. There's a new lecture and exercise in the third semester in this track, which is deep learning for medical imaging. Yes, as well. And here is the model study plan, the timetable for the first semester in the master's program. Again, here it looks a little also maybe already chaotic because the blue ones, the darker blue subjects, they are from the different tracks. And as there are 4 tracks, you don't have to take all of them, but only the one in your track. Yeah. And yes, and here the QR code for the master's program, for my program details, Master AI page, where you can find everything really I told you and a lot of questions and answers. And I really hope that we can answer all your questions on there. Otherwise, we'll you ask after today or in an email. And now I wanted to shortly explain also about the examinations. I know we are all learning for the rest of our lives and we are not really interested in grades, but we do get a lot of questions regarding exam organization. So I just wanted to shortly explain. So in the lectures, the VLs in the model study plan, as there is no mandatory attendance, the end of term exam is your grade for the course. So it equals, the grade of the exam. And there's usually 3, or according to to university law, we have to offer 3 exams per course per year. That means that the winter term, for example, ends at the end of January. And then we offer the first exam end of January, beginning of February. A second try exam in March, and maybe third one in May, June. And for each course, there are 3 tries each semester, let's say, and then next year again, right? So you could only do the second try exam, for example, and if you fail or you're not happy with your grade, you could even take the third try or the year later try again. So just that you know. And these exams are usually taking place in person. A lot of them have also changed again and are offered only on paper. Not online anymore. Due to obvious reasons. And you can take them in Linz, Bregenz, or Vienna. In total, you have 4 tries for each exams, but the 4th try, so after 3 fails, the 4th one is the so-called commission exam, where 3 professors have to be present. Just try to pass one of the first 3 tries. And for the exercises, as there's mandatory attendance every week or every 2 weeks, depending on how it's designed, each exercise, you have usually to hand in assignments and really regular. Or like I told you before, in maths, for example, there are weekly quizzes. And of course, there, in the middle of the semester already, probably if you will pass the course or not, you have to continuously work on your grade for the course. not like with the lecture. Yes, so I hope that was clear. And yes, as I promised, so here's my email address, office@ai-lab.jku.at, where you can ask any additional question that you might have. Also, if you already know that you want to study and live in Vienna, then you can directly contact also with question my colleague, Martin, or in Bregenz, my colleague Isabella. With your questions. And yes, I also wanted to just shortly tell you that, of course, you can take all your exams in Vienna and Bregenz as well. But we know that around 1/4 to 1/3 of our students live and study from Vienna. And it's really important in order to be able to take all your exams there, to register for the exams in Q3 really early on, because we know that just like I said, the numbers of students in the AI program have exceeded all expectations. And so we sometimes have difficulties to fit everybody in the Center for Distance Studies in Vienna. So just make sure that you register on time for the exams. So yeah, but as I explained, there are 3 tries. So usually there's always a possibility to take exam in Vienna and Bregenz as well. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much for your attention. And yes, I'm looking forward to your questions later on.
Great. I will take over again. Then let me share again my screen. So hi everyone, same person from the beginning. Hi again for those who just joined recently. I'll quickly go on who I'm, because I think you want to know who is the person talking to you. So first of all, I just went to a technical college in Vienna. For those who live in Austria, might know it as HTL. For my bachelor's, I moved to Linz. So I actually also have experience how it is to be in the lecture hall and see the professor. Even though it was a short period because COVID came, but after that, I still had the opportunity to actually see the lecture halls from inside. Then for my master's, I moved back to Vienna, where I started building the student union team, which I'm very proud of. Yeah, but now my time is coming to end almost, trying to step down from all my duties, which I did in the student union because I'm almost ending my degree. Yeah, but you're not here for actually me, you are here for the degree itself. So just an overview of, I will explain why I'm studying AI at JKU, and after that, how the distance learning works. Then some concerns that students have before beginning the studies. I will shortly introduce what is the student union. The ÖH is the German word. It's called Österreichische Hochschülerschaft. It's quite long, so we just say always ÖH, which is quite simple. And yeah, where you will get more information. Yeah, so let's start why I'm studying AI. I think one of the biggest motivation for me, or let's say before I started my degree, I did a bit of research. I'm pretty sure you will also do it, and you should really do. And one of the, I would say the strong, for me, argument is the strong reputation that JKU has. I don't want to exploit everything, but Chenny did it a bit already, is you should search who is the head of our institute, why he's so famous, what he has influence, and what he's playing in AI. I think he has a very big influence in AI general, and he's our head of studies, which is quite incredible. Yeah, so have a Google a bit, find out who this person is. I think in general, I think the curriculum itself. I went over the fields a bit, and you have a dedicated courses for each of these fields. We have a course for supervised techniques. We have a course for, computer vision. We have a course, a dedicated course for reinforcement learning and other fields in AI. So I think the especially bachelor starts with a very good overview of machine learning itself, and the master builds on this deep learning concept, right? So you have a course called reinforcement learning in bachelor's, but then you have a course called deep reinforcement learning in the master's, and so on. I think this in general gives you a very, very good overview of the whole degree. Also the community and the support of it, I think it's a very nice. So since I moved to Vienna, we also started to have events in Vienna, but we have a lot of events in Linz also. We have regular tables. We do, we also watch sometimes movies, board games. We have one of the biggest JKU games events happening, which is a game night over I don't know, game days actually. So it's a long weekend where people just play nonstop. And yeah, it's generally just a very nice, I would say, vibe. So distance learning, how does it work? So Jenny already gave you a bit of overview. So you can watch the lectures live in distance learning centers. So it can be either Bregenz or Vienna. Imagine like a big seminar room with a big screen, and you can watch there and also meet your colleagues. You can interact with the professors. So you can do it either chat. So it can be a Zoom chat, so you can write your questions there, or we also have microphones where you can just speak to them and they will hear in the lecture hall and they also can reply to you. Also, not always, but the lectures are sometimes broadcast to Zoom. That doesn't mean please sit in your bed and just watch it there. I can tell you it's not the best idea. So it's actually very useful to go in the lecture hall or in the seminar rooms, wherever it's close to you, to also meet your colleagues and who are studying with you. Usually the lectures are recorded and also provided throughout the semester. However, depends. Some lectures do record and some not, but for the mandatory is often that they record them and they are provided during the semester. So exam can be written in distance learning center, especially now. I think a lot of professors are going back to this pen and paper, which I think is very nice initiative because writing the exam and the paper is totally different than just sitting in the front of PC. So yeah, it's very important to live somewhere nearby so you can actually write the exams in the distance learning centers. Also, one good thing I think I really like is some lectures also held live in the distance learning center. One of the professor does one of the, I would say, best courses in masters live in lecture hall in Vienna, which is quite nice. Yeah, so it's also a nice thing. So for the exercise, there are many groups. So there are groups for people living in Linz on site, but there are also groups for people, studying from Bregenz or from Vienna. They have all of different criteria how to pass. We don't have time to go all over them because they also change over time. But you can always think that there will be always group for people who are living, near Vienna and Bregenz, but also, and there are specific groups for people living in Linz. We always got the questions of is the attendance mandatory? The answer is very simple, yes and no. The yes answer is for exercises. A lot of exercises do have a mandatory attendance, so you have to be in the exercise. So either it will be in Linz, where you have to be, in the lecture, like in the lecture hall or in seminar room, or they are provided a Zoom link where you have to be in the Zoom. And yes, it's checked. So I just want to also mention that, yes, the people who are doing the exercise do actually check your attendance, and it also is being graded. So yeah, we take it very serious. Yeah, I think that's so some exercise again where the attendance is mandatory, but for the lectures it's not. Let's start with the concerns, right? So a lot of people have the concern that staying from Vienna, you won't have any interaction with any students, which is not really true. So we have even a study, I would say study group or study lecture hall kind of in distance learning center. We have a very big community in Discord. I will share the link afterwards in the chat. And for those who are watching the recording in YouTube, you will find the links below the like button. And also very proud of is that we are also starting organizing events. So we started, with regular tables. They would take place once a month. If the weather is good, we also even go to a Donau Canal, which is very nice. So the other concern is like no interaction with professor and lecturers. I would say it's not really true because you do have an interaction. So we have a Moodle platforms where you can ask questions. Again, as I already mentioned, you can also ask the question by microphone or chat. So you do have, and we also have some professor actually in Vienna itself, right? So you can also have interaction with them over there. Yeah. Technical difficulties like low quality, lagging of live stream, which is not completely true. We do have a very high-tech equipment in the lecture halls. So we have two cameras, making sure that we are really capturing, the best quality you can get. There is a kind of a cameraman sitting behind to move the camera even. So you just don't watch the screen, like, the lecture from the top, but we can zoom in and everything, and also switch between the board view and the slides and so on. So in general, I would say the quality of the materials is very, very high. Move on. Yeah, let's introduce the Student Union. So again, already mentioned, it's quite a long name. We call it just ÖH. It's a legal representing of interest of all students. In our case, it's the students in JKU, especially in AI program. We have been quite growing recently. So we used to be together with the computer science. Then we had our own student union. So kind of and now we have already 29 active members. We are politically independent, so we don't belong to any political party, or we don't have any political interest. It's volunteer based, so everything I'm doing, I'm not getting paid for it, and all the other people also not. So yeah, it's something we love to do, even though we don't get paid. That's our email address, so please reach out to us if you have any questions. What we can already tell now, I think it's also very important. We are not really into the admission process, right? We get a lot of emails about your admission situation. I know it takes a long time, but however, we don't really have a power when it comes to admission at all. So that's why we can help you when you're already a student, right? When you have problems with professors or you have some problems with the lectures, we can also help you to select the lectures, right? You want to figure out, okay, I would like to know which, this is my background, which subject I should select, and so on. We are very, very happy to help you out there. But yeah, we can't really help you out when it comes to your admission process, which documents you need and all this stuff. It's not really our expertise. Yeah, so I will post these links afterwards in the chat. For those who are watching, you will find it below the like button in the description somewhere. And yeah, that's so we have so-called the bachelor program, which already Chenny showed you, the master programs. We have a very wonderful study guide. Please, please, please read that, because I'm pretty sure I would say I would bet that 90% of your question could be answered just by reading it, right? Just read it. Then we have not only that, we have also FAQs for AI students. We have FAQs for international students with a wonderful website. JKU has a so-called the JKU from A to Z. You will find all the information about how many exams need to take place during the year, how to select the courses and stuff like that. And then you have the program details for bachelor's and the master's. And also, but more on that, you will figure out. I will send the links in the chat later. One more thing, I think we get a lot of like, hey, can you please guide us? I get a lot of thing. The first thing is you should read, and read. Very simple. Start reading the curriculum. It will sound very, very surprising. There are some students who are already in the third semester that never looked actually the curriculum, which is for me very surprising, because that would be the first thing I would do in my life. So please read the curriculum, understand what is taught, right? You can now, with ChatGPT and all these AI models, you can even copy paste the lecture names, and it should explain to you what is taught there, and the techniques and stuff like that. After that, I will start with the study guide. Please go over it. It's, I think, around 38 pages something. It's not that long. It's very simple written. You can finish it in like maybe 20 minutes. It's not that big. After that, read the Q&A, FAQs. And yeah, for also the international, a lot of questions already answered there. If not, if you have really a question you think it's not answered there, please reach out to us. We would like to also add the new questions to our study guides and also. Yeah, that's last but not least, follow us. I think the Fernstudium Instagram page is doing great stuff. I'm pretty sure you know all the JKU Instagram pages. They post a lot of behind the scenes, but now also the Fernstudium does it. Yeah, reach out to us if you have any questions. And that's all from my side. And I think we'll move slowly to the questions. So let me stop this. We have already 16 questions, seems like. So